And we're live.
Welcome to another episode of Custom Action Figure News.
All right, not bad, Dan. Hey guys, we're back. It's been a while, hasn't it, Dan?
Yes, it has. It's been a while, but we're back on the air. Going to bring everybody the latest news and the greatest news from SDCC and other places.
Yeah, we've definitely want to give our commentary. I know there's been a lot out there already, but we definitely want to take a look at some of the other stuff, SDCC and post SDCC hot toys. Want to talk a little bit about that. And of course, we've got Dan to do some non-Star Wars stuff. You know me, I'm pretty much Star Wars, but Dan's trying to help me broaden my horizons a little bit and trying to get the rust knocked off myself with this podcasting thing. And I got a brand new camera. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing for you, but you'll at least be able to see me a little bit more clearly. It's man, the resolution is pretty nice. I'm liking that so far. Anyhow, I guess I might as well go ahead and get to some of the announcements. Let me see if I can get on the right one. There we go. And the first thing I want to take a look at is the self-custom scratch-built vehicle challenge, our latest custom challenge, and we are in the voting stage right now. We had quite a few decent entries. I'll screw through some of these, but you can see them right here. We had Star Chaser with an entry, Spoodafet with a cool swoop bike. Well, let me see if I can scroll through some of this and show you. If my internet seems like it's been doing okay, but there's Star Chaser's entry. He actually had two. He had the Teacher Me and the Jedi Me. I thought that was pretty interesting. Pretty spot on with his picture. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, not a bad likeness. Good use of the Obi-Wan head.
Yeah, he's definitely looks a lot like Ewan McGregor. Does that get that right? Is that his?
Yes.
All right. Of course, we've got some great prizes thanks to TS Hobbies, some of his awesome stands. We'll need to get to some of this. Is some of the work in progress pictures. Trying to get to some of the final entry picks. Oh yeah, there's Spoodafets. He had a great scratch build, just a 6-inch Shadows of the Universe swoop bike. For those of you that remember that, there's a good example of the regular 3 3/4-inch bike, and you can see his version, his 6-inch version, just really, really cool.
Yeah, definitely a good adaptation of the older model.
Isn't that? I mean, Spoodafet is really amazing, man. He built a 6-inch ATRT that just really, really, really impressed me. Anyway, here is Jaya, and he has himself as a Sith Inquisitor, which I thought was pretty interesting. And pretty spot on with his face, too. He definitely has a Galen Merrick, kind of a Star Killer look, doesn't he, Dan?
Yep, that he does.
Let's see what else we have here. Make sure I don't miss anything. Oh, yeah, here we have Mandalore 25's Basilisk War Droid. For those of you who remember,
the Tales of the Jedi.
Yeah.
That was from the Freed and Nad Uprising, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. See if I can get this a little bit smaller. There we go. Isn't that cool?
Yes, that's actually a pretty good adaptation of the artwork. I'm a pretty big fan of that series. I actually have one of the covers, an autographed print by Dave Dorman, hanging on my wall over to my left over here, but you guys can't see it at the moment. So that's a really nice, like, spot-on version of the War Droid.
I would just love it if Hasbro would make something like this, but oh well.
I think the EU has its final nail was put in it. We're not going to see any more of that, unfortunately.
Yes, legendary, whatever it is now, legendary, whatever.
Nope.
I'm not getting started. I promised myself. All right, what else? Oh, here is I am Boba Fett's Imperial Patrol skiff, and he has created just an awesome, it's got magnets in it. It carries cargo. It's got a great big cannon on it. How cool is that?
That is very cool. And believe it or not, that's actually very reminiscent of an old skiff that I did years ago for my Sand Pirates. The same thing with the EU speeder bikes back to back like that.
Mm-hmm.
I did that, probably 2006, give or take. But it's cool to see somebody else picking up and doing the same design because I figured a lot of people would do it, and this is only the second one I've ever seen. I
Oh,
like the
really?
integrated droid socket in the front too. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's just awesome. Really enjoyed that entry. Here we have Halcyon. We know him from Facebook. He does a lot of posting, but he's created this. It's kind of a, I don't know, Blade Runner meets Star Wars vehicle. It definitely fits in the Star Wars verse, kind of a speeder with a pilot. And a little bit further up, he also had to decide between it and, I have to admit, probably what was more of my favorite, which was his IG-88 Bounty Hunter transport.
Yeah, that thing is pretty cool looking. I like that.
I can get a little bit of better picture of that, but uh, isn't that cool?
That is very nice.
Just very, very neat. I really, really, really like that ship. Of course, I know probably a lot of our other people did too, but just really cool. And I think I'm missing something. Let me see. Which one did I not get? I wanted to make sure I got to all of them. Got Spoodafet, got Star Chaser, got Jay. I guess I did get all of them.
Yeah, you got them all.
So, yeah. So this, I mean, this was definitely a, not as many entries, but definitely a much harder contest when you just think about the scratch built part.
I
And
had
then,
I had an entry that I wanted to do, but unfortunately, some health issues laid me low, so I wasn't able to take part in this. But I had something planned.
yeah, we definitely, we'll talk a little bit further on. We have been dealing with some stuff, haven't we?
Yes, we have.
Yeah. All right. The next thing I want to talk about, way back, it's been a few months now, Jason from yakface.com shared a link of, I don't know, Dan, if you've ever heard of Disney movie rewards.
I hadn't heard of them until he posted that link. I didn't even realize they had any kind of
Yeah.
redemption program.
Yeah. So what it is, I mean, when uh, buy a DVD or even go see like a new movie like Ant-Man I just saw, you can get points, and then you can use these points to buy things like this episode 7 one sheet. I mean, I haven't seen any posters anywhere to buy official ones. This is the only one I know exists, and you can see it's 500 points. And my daughter, I had all kinds of these Disney videos that had these little things on the inside with these, I don't know, about 9 or 10 digit letter codes and
Mhm.
letter and number codes, and you just kind of put them in, and you get these points, and you can get neat stuff. I mean, not just posters, all kinds of neat things. Anyway, I was able to get this poster, and Jason has just posted a neat project for a light up poster frame. It's just like one of the regular plastic poster frames you're used to buying in places like Walmart and Michaels. And he just made a little wooden kind of a back for it that serves a dual purpose of not only holding the poster in, but also has this light strip, this LED light strip. And I'll definitely put all the links up on the show notes. He talks about how he's done this whole project, and ultimately, when he gets done, he's got a really, really, really cool poster frame, and as you can definitely see, it would work on whatever movie poster you want to do it. So I think he said he had about $20 in the entire project. So I thought that was really cool and definitely wanted to share that. So neat project, Jason. Thanks for sharing it. Definitely wanted to give it a shout out.
Yeah, it definitely gives a very nice presentation for the poster. And that would look
Oh,
good in
it's
anybody's
awesome.
hobby room.
Yeah. The next thing on the list, wanted to give a shout out to Brian and Elias, Darth Daddy, celebrating 5 years of customs for the kids. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a landmark.
Uh,
5 years. That's pretty good. Half a
yeah,
decade right there.
yeah. In the interwebs, that's definitely pretty cool, and definitely promoting customizing, across the web, and just really wanted to tell them congratulations. So it's really cool, and if you haven't checked out their blog, it's just full of custom goodness. So give them a look.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Congratulations, guys.
Yeah. The next thing, good old Dan has been approved to go take a gander at the Hasbro Star Wars brand team. So I wanted to make sure everybody knew. You've got two options. You can email me, Tamer at imperialshipyards.net, with the subject line New York Comic Con Hasbro questions. Or in our forums, we've got general questions. I mean, it's kind of like basically it's under the general Hasbro, and I've got it up at the top. And of course, as you can see, my date is not real good, but we just had people posting so many questions, so many places. Okay, I'll let them email me, or they can post in the forums. Of course, the SMF forums that we have. If you go to imperialshipyards.net, it is definitely on I guess the third button, the glowy button. You click on that, and it'll give you a link to register. It's totally free. Pretty good about. Looks like the live feed's working.
Yep, there it is.
Anyway, uh, so definitely link up if you have questions for Hasbro. I'm not sure. That's October sometime, right, Dan? Is that when?
It's the second weekend of October. I got to check my notes, but I believe it is the second weekend of October, and I'll be meeting with the Hasbro team the Wednesday prior to that.
Cool deal. So we need to make sure we probably cut the questions off probably a week before that, just so we can get everything organized.
Yep.
But
And the
so,
nice thing is, since it will be after September 4th, we will
mhm.
most likely, that embargo that stymied us at every other
Oh,
question and
I know.
answer should be lifted, and we'll be able to get some really good answers from Hasbro instead of, I'm sorry, I can't talk about that right now, or Disney will kill me. So,
Yeah, fingers crossed. Yeah,
yep.
it'll be our past two questions and answers. Of course, we did a little bit better for our last one. We're going to talk about that later. But for our, let's see, what one, Toy Fair one, we just kind of got lambasted a little bit. But anyway,
Yep.
that's where you can put them. Another thing, I don't know if you heard of Hole in the Ground Productions, Dan.
Yes, I have. They got some cool stuff on there.
Oh man, I just a lot, all kinds of neat stuff, 3 3/4 stuff. And I just recently, let me look at that Droid Torture Rack, just really cool stuff.
Yeah, it's really
Uh,
nice.
but I just got this. I just ordered and got in the mail this troop transport, and I haven't built it yet. But I opened the box, and you can see, the easy to assemble kit right there. It is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I'm
And
tempted by that. I think I might pick one up when I have a little bit of spare
I'm
cash.
I'm telling you, it is just I love it. It's like, okay, fans are like, okay, Hasbro won't make it, we'll make it. And I just love it because it's just perfect. The only thing that would make that even better is if he made like a vintage deco box to ship them in. Of course, that would drive the price way up, but just
Yeah, that it would.
really, really, really cool product. And as you can see, he's got all kinds of stuff. Look at that little ball speeder from A New Hope, that thing that we saw sitting outside of the cantina. But he's even got, a little bit of 6 inch stuff too, but just a really, good communication. The guy shipped very fast. So all I can do is give these folks some accolades too. Another thing I wanted to make sure I mentioned to everybody. If you have not yet seen Dorkside Toys warehouse clearance sale, you just really don't know what you're missing. I'm talking about all kinds of lines, and yes, they have Star Wars stuff too. It's like you've got some DC stuff up on top of here now, but they're adding new stuff all the time. There's a $15 6 inch Commander Cody, and definitely be lying if I said I didn't get that one. Look, there's even some Pacific Rim stuff there,
Yep.
Dan. 7 inch baby Otachi. I don't even know if I'm saying that right.
Yeah, you got the right Otachi. Yeah.
$8. But just all kinds of stuff. Zombie stuff. There's the Rebel Saga Legends. I mean, there's the Generations combined. I mean, just sale price, regular price $45, sale price $25. I mean, these guys are just selling, 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 selling Marvel stuff. I got a Imperial Troop Transport and an ATDP. And I've just, I've definitely partaken of this, just all kinds of stuff. And I wanted to, yeah, there's the 6-inch Clone Trooper Sergeant. It's only $15. I wanted to see if they still had they had like Baroness figure. I don't know if doesn't look like she's there anymore, but they had her. She was like $3. I was just like, man, what a great price, for customizers. She'd be like a great one to make some female Mandalorians out of, or any female type trooper. Anyway, give them a look. DorksideToys.com warehouse clearance sale. I don't know if you can see that right there, but they've got an exclusive Funko P Cole. Congratulations, guys. Definitely can't wait to see what else they add to their clearance sale. Oh yeah, another thing I want to make sure I told everybody about is there is a D23 Expo. I want to say August 11th, but I might be, maybe it's, no, August 14th is when this is going to happen. Dan, did you know there was going to be a new Disney Star Wars line called the Star Wars Elite Series?
Yes, I had read about that maybe a month or so ago. It's going to
Cool.
be some kind of super articulated die-cast figures. So I'm very intrigued to see
Yeah.
what those look like.
Yeah, me too. The die cast, and like Dan said, they're supposed to be super arty, and that was music to my ears. I'm not sure, Dan. Do you know? Are they 3 3/4 or 6 inch or 12
So
inch?
far, nothing has been announced about them.
Ah,
I'm guessing, and this is just me off the cuff here, since they are die-cast metal, I'm guessing they're probably going to be a little bit bigger than 3 3/4. I think you may be leaning
probably.
more towards a 5 or 6 inch product, just
Hmm.
simply for the tooling. Usually, when you get into metal stuff, it doesn't tend to be the smaller figures,
Anyway,
unless it's little like unarticulated statues. But usually, they tend to be a little bigger.
that makes sense. That makes
Yeah.
sense. I'll have to see if I can find out more about that. But anyway, it looks like episodes 1 through 6 is going to be represented. And it looks like those who go there will have the chance to get the exclusive DT23 Expo R2D2 and C3PO. Definitely would love to get those. If anyone's going, give me a shout out. I'd love to hop on the bandwagon. But another thing I thought was cool is they're going to release some Star Wars Legion helmets, some vinyl collectible helmets and stars by the Star Wars Legion Helmet Project, which I've seen at Celebration, which is really, really cool. Um, so it's just really neat that they're going to make some copies of those and offer them to the public. So I don't know if they're going to be like full size, like wearable size helmets, or if they're going to be slightly smaller. I guess we'll see more when we see, a little bit more of the expo. So,
Just judging by the
even,
picture, sorry, my apologies.
yeah, go ahead.
Just judging by the picture, I think they're going to be fairly small
Yeah, it kind of looks smaller, doesn't it?
because the eyepieces don't look like they're separate lenses. It looks like a small, probably hollow vinyl helmet. I'm guessing maybe 3 4 inches in height. That's just what I get from that image. That's what kind of pops into my head. I think they're going to be small.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense.
Like I said, I could be wrong. This is just me guessing, but I think they're going to be tiny.
Mm-hmm. And I've got one more thing I wanted to queue up. Where did I put it? Where did I put it?
Those little helmets, though, that picture, they look to
Mm-hmm.
me like, you ever see the Mexican Day of the Dead skull candies? The little sugar
Yeah,
skulls? That's kind of what that particular pictured one looks like. It looks like a sugar skull.
yeah, yeah, it does. Oh, this is what I almost forgot. And Stan from Pearl Shipyards forum member has given us the I don't know, kind permission for people that want to. Now he's created these by hand, and these are custom water slide decals for Rebel pilots, like Rebel pilot helmets, and it looks like some other things too. Maybe even some ship graphics. I'm not even sure, but just really, really neat stuff. You can get it. Just get some water slide decal paper from Staples or Office Max. I don't know, maybe even Walmart sells it. Print off your stuff, customize up some action figures. Just really neat. And Stan, I wanted to definitely showcase that and say, thank you very much. It's really neat, giving people a nice resource that want to, spruce up their stuff. Can
It's
always use.
definitely very cool. I'm looking at the picture right now. Those
Yeah.
are really, really nice.
They neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, really cool. And like I said, it just amazes me the creativity that, I'm constantly surrounded by just really talented folks, and definitely can't stand among them, and appreciate him sharing that with us. All right. I think I finally got through all the announcements. I'm sorry it was a little longer than perhaps people were used to, but now our ugly mugs are back. Well, at least Dan's the handsome one of the two now.
Yeah. Well, thank you. You're pretty good yourself. Don't worry.
Oh, well. As long as my wife loves me, I'm good, right? All right, Dan. So I guess it's time to get into the meat and potatoes portion of, the podcast. And I just wanted to start off by, just before we get into some specifics from San Diego Comic Con, what was your overall reaction?
My overall reaction to SCCC this year was honestly a little bit of a disappointment. From all the companies present, not just Hasbro, but everybody that was there, the only things I really saw that stood out to me as being things that I'm going to purchase myself would be
Mhm.
there's two new Pacific Rim creatures coming out, and I think the other thing that really excited me was the trailer for the new season of Doctor Who. Everything else, it seems like this year they seem to have held back a lot and not really shared as much of their upcoming plate as they would do most years. So it was a little disappointing this year. But there was some good stuff shown. I mean, all the stuff from Gentle Giant and Hot Toys and even Hasbro, what little bit they showed was pretty cool. But overall, I think I was a little bit disappointed with this year. I think it's been better in past years.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely agree with you. Basically, I think we knew that we weren't going to get a huge amount of information. I think some of us were hopeful that maybe we would get a little bit more than Toy Fair showed us, but I don't know. Will we get like six Star Wars action figures that were actually reviewed?
Yeah,
Can I
something
say?
like that. It was like 5 or 6 that they showed off
Yeah,
for the first time.
it was like two 3 3/4 action figures, and like about four 6-inch figures. Of course, now I would be remiss if I didn't say that the 6-inch scale new The Force Awakens TIE Fighter didn't say wow. And uh, so Hasbro, they've been under huge restrictions. Matter of fact, from what rumors I've been hearing, they had planned to share uh, like one other full line that they were thinking about releasing before uh, Force Friday, before September 4th even hit. So that didn't happen. I think they were even planning maybe to share a little bit more of the Force Awakens figures. And of course, we're going to be talking later on, thanks to our friends at Jedi Temple Archives. I believe it was a Mayor's, one of the stores, had a early reset and pretty much announced all of what we were going to get anyway. So it's just like, well, I don't know if it was wise maybe waiting that long anyway when you've got that many stores, gearing up for this here, and just, it's not even 2 months now, is it?
No,
Uh,
it's September 4th, so we're,
yeah.
we're a little over a month out. I almost guarantee you that the stores probably have the merchandise in the back already, at least
Mhm.
some of it, because you
So,
don't get that stuff shipped the day before. It comes quite a bit early. I was a retail manager for years. We used to get stuff for the movies months before their release.
so that it's actually, there'll be somebody mess up and they'll set it out early. Anyway, back to, I think for me, the big licensee that I was really excited about was Hot Toys when they showed their, 1/6 scale TIE fighter. And then at a con that was Hong Kong, I think it was Hong Kong. We'll
Yep.
look at a gallery here later. Shared that huge Falcon. It's like they are building these things. They don't care about scale. They don't care about size. I guess they're going to care about price. But man, they're building these things huge. And of
Yeah.
course, Sideshow announcing the six scale AT-AT driver. I figure most people realized that was going to get me really excited, so I was happy there. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess anymore I'm just getting to the point where it's like, okay, if they share a little bit of stuff, I'll just suck it up and go on. I try not to get too disappointed anymore. And I think, maybe from years past, perhaps we got a little spoiled when, Hasbro would give us their presentations and show us 7 or 8 different 3 3/4 lines that they were going to give us, and now with the popularity of the 6 inch, and of course they've always got some other line they're trying to delve into as well. Some type of experimental line, whether it be, I don't know, the what I called was the little fighter pods or the command, the
Man,
little army men, whatever. They've always got something they're trying. So anyway, I don't know. I've just kind of left with well, I wish we would have seen more, but maybe because of the gag order and I mean, it's getting ready to hit. As of September 4th, and as of the new movie, in December, the gloves are going to be off for sure. So it's going to be good. It's going to be good.
I'm just surprised that they couldn't show us things we've seen already. I mean, the trailers have shown us several new characters. We've seen a couple new vehicles. It wouldn't really be that much of a spoiler to show us a figure of Han Solo in his 30 years later, or the Ray or Poe or any of those characters. We already know who they are. We've seen pictures of them. We know the character names. Just to see a figure of it, I don't understand why they couldn't do that. Disney seems to be playing it a little too close to the vest, and I don't quite understand that because, as I said, it's already out there. We know who these characters are. We know somewhat what their relationships are to each other and to the overall story arc. There's no reason they can't show us those figures.
That's yeah. I mean, and I've heard a lot of the same sentiment, across the fanverse out there on the interwebs, and just like, yeah, I don't know if we should blame Disney or Lucasfilm. I mean, yes, you well know there's been a lot of changeover at Lucasfilm too. Are they the ones telling Hasbro, hey, don't share anything? Is it Disney telling Lucasfilm, hey, we don't want anything shared? I don't know. And I think in this day and age, with technology being what it is, and I don't know that there's any secret that is going to last. I don't know if there's going to be any, probably a week before Force Friday. Probably, like I said, we already know a good bit about what we're going to see. So I don't know that we're going to be really surprised. But anyway, should we take a gander and maybe give some brief comments on what Hasbro did show us?
Sure, go ahead.
Let's start with this one. What do you think about this one, Dan?
This one, I'm not overly crazy about the design, and I'll tell you 2 reasons exactly why. The asymmetrical markings, the one red panel on the side that stretches all the way to the back, I hate asymmetry in designs. I think if they're going to do that, put a red stripe on the other side too so it matches. And the other thing I don't like, the big nuts on the end of the wings right before you get to the solar panels. It ruins that clean line that the original TIE Fighter had. Whereas, I mean, it looks more or less like the original vintage Kenner toy because it's got the short wings, the large bubble. And I understand this has been retooled. I think it's a two-seater now, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
But those big nuts at the end, it throws off that clean lines where it would just come down to the wings, and it bothers my eye when I look at it. The overall design, it's not terrible, but it's just kind of overdone, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. The kid in me says 6-inch scale. Wow. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if this would be one of those things if I pass it. And from what I understand, it's not going to see a really, really wide release during the Force Friday. It's going to be fairly limited.
Yeah, it's probably due to production because something that big cannot be cheap to produce. I think it has $170 retail, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that's the price that was bouncing through my head right there. So
yeah, that I don't think it's going to move all that much the first couple of weeks because that's a lot of change to throw down at one point.
Yeah.
So even with a limited release, I think you might see 1 or 2 of them on the shelves when you go to the toy store.
I guess that's the only thing that when I saw this, it slightly worried me. I'm like, oh man, we've got $170 vehicle. Why couldn't it, and this is the first larger scaled vehicle we have in the 6-inch scale. why wouldn't they have made like an old school TIE fighter, an old school X-wing, or maybe even, I don't know, an ATST, or I don't know, something that because is mom and dad, are they going to drop $170 on
I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe parents will nowadays, but I can see most collectors, they probably not going to buy it at that price. They're going to wait for clearance sales and discounts, and it's like,
Christmas gifts and whatnot. Yeah.
yeah,
But
it's just
one good thing about this vehicle, though, people who've read our Q&As, as you know, every time I go to a Toy Fair or the Hasbro party, I get to talk to Joe and the other Hasbro guys. He kind of hinted that this was coming last year.
hmm
When I asked him what about the plans of any starfighter-sized vehicles in the 6-inch range, he kind of like gave me a knowing look, and he said, we kind of might be working on something. I'm pretty sure this is exactly what he was talking about, and this, he told me that back in October of last year.
yeah. Well, and that's like at saying to Comic Con, Todd asked, he's like, question, well, is this, is there going to be an X-wing to chase this TIE fighter? And of course, if you listen to the audio broadcast, just the tone of voice from Jeff was like, yeah, they're going to make one too. So
Yep.
we know we're going to have probably a new X-wing too. So that'll be cool.
Yeah, that'd be good for the collectors in that scale to get some vehicles that they can display their figures with. Because it's no fun just having shelves with just figures on them. You got to have vehicles and dio and parts and everything else to truly enjoy them.
6-inch Django Fett, in or out, Dan?
Well, I don't do the 6-inch scale myself, so I mean, I'm out on that for that reason. But it's a cool looking figure. I like the luster of the silver pieces.
Mm-hmm.
It's not overblown. It's kind of that brushed metal look, which is what the costume had, which is pretty nice.
Mm-hmm. I like
it. They could have just gone glossy silver or dull silver, but they went with that kind of like brushed metal. Very, very nice.
Yeah, and I see them do a paint job like this. And the reason they keep giving us for C3PO not being released in this scale is because they're having problems with the gold metal paint job. And then I see them give us something like this, and I'm like, I don't know whether to believe them or not.
I think it has a lot to do with they wanted to do the vac metal on 3PO, but the vac metal process will not adhere to certain plastics. It needs to adhere to the harder plastics, like what usually the torsos and the thighs are made out of. They would have trouble with the softer plastics that the lower arms, lower legs, heads, etc. are tend to be made from. And I think that's what's holding them up on 3PO. Is they'd have to produce a figure either in gold paint or entirely in hard plastic.
Well, I know one thing, looking at that silver paint job, I mean, make it gold, man. I'd buy that Joker.
Yep. Yeah, it could definitely work. It doesn't have to be vac metallized.
6-inch Ahsoka.
Very cool looking figure. I like the paint job on the head tails, and just beautiful looking figure.
Yeah, they really seem like they're at least not saying, try not to say anything too bad. I mean, some of the paint work I've seen on some of the 3 3/4-inch scale lately has left a little bit desired, but we still look like we're getting pretty good paint work on the 6-inch scale. So, and there's Kanan. I don't know about this one.
Well, it's a nice realistic take. It's a realistic take on the character, and it's hard to get that kind of unusual shape to his head in a realistic format. But it makes it passable. You know who it is when you look at it.
Yeah, it's Kanan, but I don't know.
I think this is actually based on the cover to the Rebel Dawn novel, because they did a realistic style. It was him and I can't remember her name, but the Twi'lek character that's his girlfriend. They're on the cover of the book, and they're done in realistic style, not the animated style, and that pretty much looks like what the book cover looks like.
The A New Hope, Luke Skywalker. A lot of people have been wanting this one to be released.
They should have done that first instead of the X-Wing. It's basically his most iconic look, even though he only wore it in one film. Is when everybody thinks of Luke Skywalker, you think of Farm Boy Luke on Tatooine. You don't think of the X-Wing costume or the black Jedi outfit. Anybody on the street, you say Luke Skywalker, that's the outfit that appears in their head.
Yeah, and it's just like when they released, figures in the 6-inch line. I don't know. Crazy me thought they might start with the original 12, and wasn't a great, cool, like maybe first larger size vehicle, land speeder, and Put
Yeah, try to
R2,
recreate the old line. Yeah.
get old Ben. Anyway, of course, now we're old fuddy-duddies. We're OTC boys, and here's one of the only 3 3/4 figures they showed. This is the Rebels Captain Rex. Got a couple years on him, Dan.
Yes, he does. Well, also clones age a lot faster than natural-born humans.
Well, I was hoping by this time he'd have hooked up with the Scarada clan and that maybe he would have gotten there. Whoop, a little bit too far. That he would have found the cure that they work on. Of course, Kara Travis come back and finish the RC series. Anyway, that was a small
I think there
side there.
was an issue with Travis that she's
Oh,
not coming back to Star Wars
yeah,
at all.
not even going there. But
Yeah.
pretty decent looking figure. I'd probably like it a little better if it had a little bit more arty in it. Looks like 5 POA.
Yep.
But the sculpt work looks pretty good to me.
I like the thicker build. It definitely looks like an older man who's still athletic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, is starting to show his years. Definitely, it's a good build, even just to add some diversity to the figure line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it won't take the customizers long. They'll add some arty to this guy.
Yep.
And we have a new Sith Inquisitor.
And this one's supposed to be a lot larger than the other one too, because the character is fairly tall.
Ah, okay. I'm gonna tattle on myself. I haven't even seen the new season 2 opening episode with Vader. I'm gonna have to see what that's all about. Have you watched that yet?
Honestly, I only watched the first movie, the 60-minute special, and 1 or 2 episodes after that, it was on demand. Just I was home from work when I wasn't feeling well, and I was watching that. But I never really got past maybe episode 5 or 6, and that was it. But I like the design of this guy, though. Very Macquarie. Very, especially the hat. It looks a lot like Macquarie's concept art for things like the Imperial dignitaries, or some of the crazy cloud car design pilots that what's his name, Joe Johnson came up with.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely harkens back to that pre-production look.
Yeah, this guy looks a little bit more like a samurai to me. So, yeah, he looks pretty good. Looks like we're coming out with some new Force FX sabers. There's Vader. Yoda. Never got into the sabers.
The only thing with the sabers is there's only so many designs to do, and it seems like every time they release a new line of them, they run through the 8 or 9 ones that people would want, and then they're back to the beginning again when they reboot the line.
Mm-hmm.
Unless a new movie introduced, I mean, we know they've got the crossguard saber coming up, but unless they introduce some more iconic sabers, you're going to keep getting the same 8 or 9 over and over again.
Mm-hmm. Titanium AT-AT. It was nice to see them maybe dust off that line. I'll definitely be picking up that one.
Yep, that's right up your alley right there.
B-Wing, Land Speeder looking good. Have
Slave
to have
one.
that one, man. Slave 1.
Yep.
There's another one. Snow Speeder.
I like the air flaps are open too. That's kind of cool.
Yep.
It looks like they might actually be articulated. If you look, it looks like there's a little joint in there, so they could open and close.
Well, that'd be neat.
Yeah.
That'd be neat. Darth Vader's tie. X-Wing. Maybe trying to steal a little bit of Hot Wheels thunder with their vehicle releases, perhaps?
It's very possible. These look to be probably around the same size, maybe a little tiny bit bigger.
Mm-hmm.
They look like they might be close to the old Galoob. What was it? They used to have. It was called the X-Ray series.
Micro Machine.
Was that the action? There was another one where the vehicles were clear plastic and you can see the inside. Yeah. The X-Ray fleet. That's kind of looks like the size they're going for.
A little closer.
They were a little bit smaller than Action Fleet.
Yeah, a little closer view of the new Ahsoka. Some of the press images they sent were huge, and then they had like a smaller picture of it. It's like, so I cropped a couple of these. Like, man, I need to see this a little bit closer. See, the paintwork's looking pretty good on her. There's Kanan. I don't know about that face. Looks like he's getting ready to throw up or something. There's Luke. No, I don't know about that soft goods jacket. It's like you want to keep telling him he needs like a gold chain hanging around his neck, or
that's what I was gonna say. It's open pretty far. I don't remember it being that open in the movie.
Me neither.
That's like 70s disco Luke.
I guess I don't know that we should whine about that yet. I guess we can. Oh yeah, here is the 6-inch type pilot. I thought he looked pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's not bad looking. You can see the evolution from the Thai pilots that we're all
Mhm.
familiar with.
Yeah. So I don't know. It might, Oh, yeah, yeah. Big surprise there. Me cropping that AT-AT pick. And we're back, and that was Hasbro, guys. That was pretty much it. We've got a couple. I had a good friend, Greg Thompson from Australia, who was there, and he went back to the Hasbro booth and took a couple pictures. This is what showed up in the Hasbro booth after. Just see him looking at all those first order stormtroopers. I was like, oh man,
That's why they sold out the first day because they put them all on
yeah,
display.
yeah. Oh, we'll talk about that later on. There's the 6-inch Luke, Kanan, Ahsoka. Said I'm not going to beat a dead horse here. Ooh, helmetless Jango Fett. That health sculpt's looking pretty good to me. That is really a good looking figure for me. And as Tom Clone Sniper 78 says, this one will be good for customs. People will be making all kinds of Mando color schemes with this guy. Just really going to be a good one. I hope they're smart enough to make a ton of them. I mean, just think of people wanting to make just a Boba Fett, custom with those markings. A lot of people want to do that. There's the SDCC Trooper that caused quite a controversy. It looks like there's the titanium line. Some of the other stuff we've already seen. So there's the new Sith Inquisitor. Imperial Troop Transport. Hearing rumors that they're already clearance in some of these Rebels vehicles at TJ Maxx.
Yeah, I saw some there the other day. They're not that cheap. They're like 19.99, which is only a little bit less than Toys R Us. I think is 24.99.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, if
So,
they were cheaper, I'm sure they'd move a lot quicker too.
so what vehicles did you see there, Dan?
I saw the not the Ghost, the other one, Phantom, the shuttle,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it's called, the
Mm-hmm.
ATDP, and the Inquisitor's tie. I did not see the transport though, but I only
Okay.
went to one TJ Maxx, and they only had the 4 boxes on the floor.
Some non-Star Wars stuff, some cool Lord of the Rings stuff coming out.
Yeah, there's always some cool Lord of the Rings stuff coming out from Weta. They've always got such amazing pieces. Their booth at New York Comic Con every year is amazing. I'm sure everybody's seen the pictures in my galleries. But they had last year they had an animated Smog on top of their display. It was huge. I mean, the head had to be 8 feet across, and smoke came out the nose. The eyes moved. Everything was great.
How cool does that look? Dane Ironfoot with his boar.
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
Cool stuff. Little Buck Rogers for ya.
Gotta love Buck Rogers.
Flash Gordon. Little Terminator. Ghostbusters.
Well, Ghostbusters is set to come back in a big way. There's a reboot being filmed right now for release next year with an all new crew, which has a lot of people upset. But yeah, if it's funny, I'll watch it. We've
Yeah.
already got the 2 classics to still love. They won't take that away from us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Well, how about we take a look at the question and answer real quick? First off, I want to give a big, big shout out Todd Mullen, who's been kind enough. He asked some celebration questions, and he went right back into San Diego Comic Con. So Todd, just really wanted to say thank you. But we can take a look at some of the good answers we got. Looks like fan choice poll was going to be at least once per year. Dan, what do you think about that?
Very cool. I hope they go back to doing a 3 3/4 inch fan poll. I took part in every single one of those years ago.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, I really liked the format that they did. Kind of the fan sites. You submitted your top of what was 5 or 6, and then based on the various sites that were allowed to submit them, then they grouped them and then came up with the final 6. And then on StarWars.com, you were allowed to vote there. And of course, we've got Darth Revan and Sabine from Rebels. I think Darth Revan was the winner, but I want to say David Filoni is the one who probably got Sabine out there. So she's supposed to going to come with two head sculpt. I guess that means, I don't know, helmet on, helmet off. I'm not sure, but
Most likely because of her hair, the way it's
yeah,
designed. I think it'd be too hard to get a helmet over that
probably.
without sacrificing the shape that's kind of iconic to the way she looks,
Hmm.
or having a distorted helmet. So two heads is the way to go with that one.
And another question here to read maybe a little bit more info into. It says, they're expanding their 6-inch Black Series line. So, it kind of is the writing on the wall a little bit for the 3 3/4 inch line. Uh, Further on, they said that, it's still a pretty good seller. But the 6-inch line evidently is so popular that it seems like they're putting most of their money on those numbers, so to speak. Still thinking that they might get to the Ghost. They say they want to do it in a 3 3/4 inch scale. That'll be cool.
It'd definitely be cool to see, especially if they can make it link up to the smaller shuttle that I mentioned before. That would actually be kind of cool to have that synergy between the toys.
Hmm. And then, a matter of fact, I think that was this two-part question from Darth Daddy, as I recall. He asked about Sabine's painted up TIE fighter from Fire Across the Galaxy, and they said they'd like to do that too. So who knows? Who knows what we'll see? They got that big 6-inch tie. I could see them modifying them a little bit and hopefully taking those nuts off the wings and maybe giving us an OTC version, and that would be cool.
I think you're more likely to see that though in the 3 3/4 inch range because they have a tie that they were going to release for Rebels that didn't get released. It was a modified version of the original Power of the Force one
Hmm.
with the short wings. I'm I definitely think you see that more as an exclusive, like for Target or Walmart or somebody in the 3 3/4 inch scale than a large, $170 exclusive. I think it's
Yeah,
more likely to see
it
it that way.
it'll be interesting to see how Rebels fares whenever the movies start hitting, and seeing if maybe some of that movie competition might. I'm not sure. I mean, I enjoy watching Rebels, but I would definitely have to assume it's definitely now a little bit more kid oriented than perhaps some of the other ones that we've seen in the past. But anywho, that might be good. And of course, after getting an SDCC trooper in hand, I have to really want to thank Hunter PR and Justin and Brandon for that. And they sent me one, and it was just a really cool trooper. But the daggone elbows on that thing only move one way. Instead of like all the other 6-inch troopers they made had those double jointed elbows, and everything else on that trooper is just awesome except for that single jointed elbow. And it was really cool because Todd asked that question for Jeff Labowitz. You're familiar with him, Dan, and he was, well, I'm not sure why we did it that way. So he put Todd in touch with the sculpting director. I mean, it was almost like they were evident their head sculptor, and they were coming up with a title for him as Todd was talking to him. But it was, if you get a chance to read that answer, it was, I didn't know what to make of it. They talked about um, it reduced piece count and reduced deco count, and then they talked about how there's so much paint applied to it. And I'm sitting there thinking, well, now how is a joint mean that they're going to have to paint more? But anyway,
Well, more
um,
pieces, more paint applied to each
I,
piece.
I I guess, but I mean they're painting a single jointed elbow piece anyway, right?
Yeah, I think they're probably painted before they're assembled.
Yeah,
So that means they'd have to line up each piece, paint each piece, and then assemble them. That's probably what he meant by that. But there's
but
a thing that intrigues me later on in the response there about the fact that it was going so quickly from concept to physical figure. They were trying to get the references as quickly as they could. This may be a case of where they weren't given the design until they were approaching the window where they actually had to make the figure, and they may have just gone with what worked best on a short notice.
yeah, I mean I can understand that, but if you're under the 8 ball and don't have much time, why wouldn't you go ahead and do the same thing you've done for all of the other trooper type figures that were out there? that were awesome. You know what I mean? I
Yep.
mean,
Yeah.
like the stormtroopers or the clone troopers. I mean, they've all got, those wonderful. It's like it's just a gorgeous figure. Why would I mean? It's only got that one little itty bitty issue, but I'd be remiss if I said that it didn't cause some slight issues with, creating a realistic type pose for him shooting, those two new blasters. Uh, which is a really cool integrated holster on the right side of his leg. It's like, but I can't get him to point his blaster to the front. It's always like pointed to the side. And we know they miss everything anyway, but still, at least we like to make believe they can point their guns in the right direction. I don't know, but anyway, so they've talked about it, and it definitely seemed like definitely an honest answer, and I'm hoping it says they're going to try to address it in the future. So I'm hoping, of course, you didn't help those folks paying hundreds and hundreds of dollars for the SDCC troopers, but I don't know, maybe by the time, well, probably not even for the September 4th Force Friday releases, but um, maybe, maybe the subsequent waves might get that elbow joint fixed, and then I mean no one will be able to say anything about that trooper at all. It's just it's just pretty awesome anyway.
Yeah, I doubt you'll see it for the Force Friday release because I'm willing to bet good money that the SDCC Trooper was produced at the same time as a regular production run for the Force Friday stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Just the only thing that's supposed to be different is the box. So I'm
Right.
pretty sure they ran them all at the same time. However,
Yeah.
number of thousands they did.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you'll see it for that. But if they re-release it down the road, you might see new elbows on it.
Mm-hmm.
Or if there's any kind of variations, because we really don't know a lot about these troopers yet. There may be like the equivalent of like a sand trooper, where it's the same thing with a pauldron on. Maybe if they go into do something like that, you might see the new elbows debut in that format.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then we kind of put them on the spot, and I have to say, that was one I definitely was wondering, and they talked about. I've never ever seen any site or anyone ask them to kind of compare lines and which one is more successful than the other. And it was interesting to hear Jeff. He said, "Well, we don't really talk about that type of stuff. Matter of fact, I'm probably pretty sure they're probably not really allowed
Yeah.
to talk about." But he really, once again reiterated, the 6 inch line is doing so well. They're going to make sure they expand that. But it was nice to hear that. This is the part of the question. He said, "But our Saga Legends 3 3/4 inch line is doing really really well." And then he talked about they had some distribution issues, but the ones they were able to get out there sold pretty good. I was like, oh no, does this mean that they're gonna take most of their 3 3/4 inch figures and slap the 5 POA on them and it's like, no, don't do that. But anyway, so I was kind of like a little bit leery when I was hearing him talk about that. Like he didn't come right out and say it, but as I've been hearing, rumored for, oh geez, it's been a few years now that the 3 3/4 line is, I don't know, it's almost like slowly going to be. I don't know how they can ever totally get rid of it because it is the action figure line. Everybody's so used to it, but there's really a lot of people who are saying that the writing is on the wall for the 3 3/4 inch line, at least as far as trying to get something that is, decently super articulated.
Yeah, I've heard that rumor too, and I have a lot of people asking me about it because I go to the conventions and whatnot. But to be honest, I don't know where it's going. They've made assurances that it's going to stick around in some format, but whether or not it goes to that 5 POA or if it stays at least somewhat, I mean, at least give us 9 points of articulation. Make sure we got elbows and knees, maybe. But I think they're tending to lean more towards either the little kid stuff, which is the 5 points, or for more collectors, they're going for the 6 inch line now. I think it'll still stick around in some capacity. We'll have some decently articulated 3 3/4 inch figures, but I don't think it's going to see the length and breadth that we've seen from the line in the past. I think you might see a small collector focused line, maybe a dozen figures a year. We'll probably get main characters and troops. I doubt we'll see, like it was in the heyday where every alien that turned around looked at the camera in the cantina more or less got a figure. I don't think we'll see that for the new movies, and especially with the rapid deployment of the new films. And we're looking at a new Star Wars film every year. they're not going to have the ability to devote that much time to each individual movie. We're going to end up seeing smaller, more focused lines, focusing more on main characters and trooper types, with the occasional. We'll probably see a couple hero vehicles. Like I think it's a safe bet to say we'll see Ray's speeder. We'll see probably the new X-wings and ties. Maybe a new. I think a new Falcon was already the Mahir's thing. Slipped that out.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to see every background speeder, every different speeder bike like we've been used to seeing. It's going to be smaller and more focused. And I hate to say it, but I think a lot of it's going to be more focused on the 5-point articulation.
Yeah. Yeah. Then one member had what I thought was a pretty neat idea about how the Marvel Legends has their Build-A-Figure program, and maybe is there any chance they might do something like that, and either the 6-inch or the 3 3/4 inch scale lineup, and they went and pretty much said, no, not really, because we want to make sure for that type of money that we give you the best paint job and accessories for the 6-inch figure. So, man, they really didn't address it for the 3 3/4 inch at all, which once again says, man, they are really staying away from 3 3/4. But anyway, so they said no. And then what was it, a few weeks later, then Rebel Scum released that they're doing kind of a build a weapon thing with some of the 2-pack releases for the Force Awakens. I'm like, dude, we asked that question a week ago, and they basically said no way. And then I don't know, maybe that's why they didn't say much about the 3 3/4 inch series, because I guess they didn't want that information to be released. But as you know, it doesn't. Somebody's going to find it and release it. So
Yeah, that caught me by surprise when they announced it. I think that was just a case of Hasbro saying that they really couldn't say anything about it yet. They probably had that was going to be the big selling feature, that if you buy all whatever it is, 12 sets or 6 sets, you can build some kind of weapon, which is probably going to be a gun emplacement or something along those lines. That was probably going to be the big surprise selling point. But they went and spoiled it already.
yeah,
That's why I think they didn't say anything about it.
Yeah. Oh, let's see. I'm going to try to, speed this up a little longer. This is starting to get a little bit long. But, of course, here's another one. We talked about the movement point and figures going forward for the newer 3 3/4 lines, and they used the gag order. We can't talk about it. Talked about another mail-aways. They didn't say anytime soon, but they said keep saving them because you never know. Accessory packs for 3 3/4 inch figures. Nothing short term, but we've kicked around the idea. One person wanted to know if they're going to re-release the 6-inch Darth Maul that is just going for boku dollars now. Not anytime soon. Future releases continue a sporadic focus across multiple films or more episode-specific releases. Of course, they say definitely The Force Awakens, but it was nice to see that for those OTC folks like us, we definitely we can understand we're not going to see most of them be that way, but it definitely says we're definitely going to see some action figures from the other lines. So that was good to hear.
Yeah, you got to keep the classic fans happy too. You can't just focus on the new movies.
So that's good. We can see those. Looks like we're going to have Ewoks or Jawa 2-packs for the 6-inch line. Thought that was kind of a cool little tidbit there. This question, I had a little bit, some canceled figures come back. No, not really. This was a question about, some of those aliens from the cantinas and Jabba's denizens, and they've talked about somehow Hasbro Pulse might share some news on that, and that was kind of neat. Did you join Hasbro Pulse, Dan?
I did sign up for it, yes.
Did you get that Transformer comic book and the little San Diego Comic-Con pass? That I was like, man, you give a San Diego Comic-Con pass. It was like an exclusive San Diego Comic-Con pass they sent you that said the Hasbro Pulse team would give you high fives. I'm like, really?
No, I didn't receive any of that. I don't believe I joined it when it first started. I found out about it like maybe a week or two after it came out.
Mm-hmm. So I got that this week, and I was like, oh, okay. I wish it was Star Wars because that was all put on there I like. But I'm not kicking a free gift around at all.
Yep.
Some of our Canadian listeners wanted about the Target exclusive items now that Target's no longer in Canada, and that was good news for those folks. That said, they're not entirely sure, but they'll definitely make sure those get released and get some distribution in Canada. So that was cool. 6-inch on carbonite. No, not at this time. Bravo, here's the one. I had a follow-up question on that. Bravo, want to tie how long until we have an X-wing to chase it? Interesting idea. Would you have room in your house? Where he's kind of joking. Never say never. Who would have thought we would have done a 6-inch tie on this scale? So, once again, it was we've had worse Q&As, Dan.
Yep. No, this was pretty good. They definitely got more info than I got at Toy Fair this year.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they were.
They were
Yeah,
very tight lipped.
I felt bad because it's like, man, I almost felt like I wasted your time. But
Uh,
anyway, yeah, we're hopeful that maybe the New York Comic Con and Toy Fair in February might shed. Definitely February should be good. I would definitely think. But
oh yeah, I definitely think we're going to see some good stuff come February.
all right, let's just in a little bit to some hot toys, and this one was the big item that just blew everybody away. The 12-inch scale TIE fighter. What do you think about that, Dan?
I would like to know, one, who's going to have the money for this, and two, who's got a house big enough to display it. I mean, I got a huge room, as you can see behind me, but I don't even think I could fit that in here.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Of course, I'm looking for that thing to probably be, what do you think, $2,000-$3,000, Dan?
I was thinking probably about 2,500, give or take,
Yeah.
because just based on the sheer size of it, I mean, you can see next to it the Millennium Falcon cockpit, and you see
Yeah.
that 12-inch Han Solo sitting in there. That
Mm,
thing has got to be enormous. I mean, it has to be. Those wings probably are 4 feet tall.
yeah.
And that's going to be a pricey piece.
Just immense. Immense. Let's see what else we have. Another picture of the tie. I'm going to go through a little bit of this, but there's that. I mean, the Millennium Falcon cockpit. What a cool idea!
Yep.
And I just keep. I was like, all this cool stuff in 12-inch scale that none of us have the space or the money to afford. And why can't we get this in 3 3/4 inch and 6-inch scale even? I was like, oh man, just cool stuff. But
Yep.
hot toys. I don't know. I mean, I definitely collect a little bit of 12-inch. Not as much as I would like because it's just super expensive. And
Yep.
I know, Dan, you're just a 3 3/4. That's your main focus. But man, you've got to admit, is Hot Toys really knocking the ball out of the park this year or what?
Oh, the Hot Toy stuff is fantastic looking. I've never had a problem with the overall work on it. They're all gorgeous, but it's just it's not my scale, and they're really expensive. Even when you base it against regular 12-inch action figures from American companies,
Mm-hmm.
that's a rich man's hobby right there.
Look at that Luke, though. I mean, you get
Yep.
the blast shield helmet. Look at all those hands and the blasters and the
Yep.
stormtrooper belt and just binoculars. It looks there and just oh man, there's the farm boy hat with the goggles and there's this poncho. It looks like. I mean,
Yep.
just goodness gracious. It's like man.
Yeah, they're amazing kits. They really are. Just a little too rich for my blood.
And I've known a few folks who've given up on 3 3/4 and said no way to 6-inch and just went exclusively to 12. And with stuff like that, I just can't blame them. I mean, look at that. Look at Chewbacca.
Yeah,
Man,
really nice work.
just gorgeous stuff. But
It
bravo.
allows them to reach a level of accuracy that the smaller figures just can't reach.
Oh no. There's a like there. Is that quarter scale Boba Fett? Or is that a 6 scale? I mean, just gorgeous stuff. Of course, the stormtroopers have already been released and got a pretty good glowing review from JKNO, who's definitely an expert in all things stormtrooper in the forums. But just cool stuff. So, like I said, I don't want to beat a dead horse. I know many of you have seen these before, but just really neat. Really neat. And then there was this.
Yeah, that's insane.
Whew. Look, those are 12-inch figures, folks. Those are 12-inch action figures. And this was the Star Wars Galaxy exhibition at the It was a Hong Kong. I don't know what it says. ACGHK. Um, uh, in Hong Kong just this past. Well, it was last weekend, I think. But I mean, just look at that thing.
I don't think that's actually going to be made for purchase, though. I think that was a one-off display item because they've
Well,
done things like that in the past where they produce large-scale pieces that were not intended for purchase, just basically to show what they could do.
well, now here's what I'm hearing about this one. You ready?
Okay, good.
You sitting down?
I'm sitting down. Yeah.
All right. They're only going to make 50 of these, and the price is going to be $48,000.
Wow.
That's what I'm hearing so far. Now that's just a rumor, folks, but from some folks that I'm friends with that are definitely very knowledgeable. That when they say rumor, you may as well say the gospel, and it's just like $48,000. It's fantastic, but who? I mean, as a friend said, he's like, well, if I've got $48,000 to spend on Star Wars, I'm going to buy a movie prop, like an actual movie prop or a movie piece.
Yeah.
I was like, well, yeah, but man, how cool is it? Look
That
at the
thing is
detail
beautiful.
on it.
But imagine where you're going to put it. It's like 18 feet long. Most people don't have rooms that big in their house to put it down.
Man, build a new house, Dan.
Well, yeah, if you've got $48,000 to drop on a
Yeah,
Star Wars toy, you can
yeah,
build a bigger house.
yeah. And then it's like it looks like this thing is now. I'm not sure. I'm hearing rumors that this could also be a separate Millennium Falcon environment that they may sell after the cockpit, but this is definitely supposedly, your little hangar bay area there inside of the cockpit. That isn't that cool?
That
I
is
mean, I
really nice.
can't imagine. Of course, they're showing a bit more of some of the Hot Toys stuff that we've already seen. But just that is just humongous, huge, huge, huge.
Yep.
All right, then we've got to get to a little bit of sideshow, and I'm gonna see if I can get to what I want to get to.
There it is.
Yay!
Yep, 12-inch AT-AT driver.
Awesome
That's your character right
sauce, man. There's my boy. I can't wait to see if they produce some exclusive piece. And like I said, I it's hard for me to drop the coin on that stuff, but this one I'll definitely have one of these, probably two, I would say, knowing me. And if there's an exclusive whatever, I'll have it too. And I can't wait for Sideshow to announce pre-order information on this. But this is the one that had me intrigued from Comic-Con. So I was just really, really, when I saw this, of course, that was Jason from. Actually, no, it was Sith Fire 30. Dayton Allen was the one who first posted on my timeline. Hey Tamer, have you seen this? I'm like, what? And then he shared it was an image from Yak Face, and then Jason said, yeah, when I first saw this, Tamer was the first person I thought of. I was like, man, we might have to joint review this one, Jason, but. Just really, really neat. Looks really, really good to me. And I'm sitting, I'm looking at this picture, and then I'm looking at my Marmot AT-AT driver, which has probably been about the most detailed AT-AT driver made to date, and it looks like it might put this to shame. So I'm really looking forward to it. Really, really looking forward to it. Of course, they've got a 6 scale, another Darth Maul coming too that looks good, but I've only got eyes for the AT-AT driver, man. The LTA outfit. It's definitely be coming home.
Nope.
So, pretty cool stuff. And, man, we have gone way, 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 way long. So I was going to talk more about, the sideshow panel, whatever, but I want to go down and talk about some of your stuff. Is that okay, Dan?
Sure, go right ahead.
Let me load some of that stuff up. So this is the first thing that you want to talk about.
Yeah.
So what are these sets?
The Toys R Us has an exclusive line where they work in conjunction with Animal Planet, and they release all sorts of nature and animal-based toys, which are, in a lot of cases, they're reuses of Chap May toys, which everybody who's had a dollar store in their area knows Chap May. but they produce a lot of new material. As you can see, there's a Bigfoot figure right there.
That is awesome, man.
Yeah, there's a Yeti too, but I couldn't find a link for the Yeti. It's not up on their site yet. And believe it or not, it's a different sculpt. If that had been Hasbro, they would have just released one in brown and one in white and called it a day. But the Yeti's actually a completely unique sculpt, and they're brand new sculpts. For $22, you get a figure, you get a bunch of gear,
Look
you get
at all that
animal.
stuff.
Yeah. There's tons of stuff in the package. And I just picked up 2 sets recently, which you see links to there. I got the giant scorpion and the giant spider sets for $15. They are amazing sets. And there's also a Mayan temple that was just released. It comes with an enormous 2-headed cobra. But I think the link is on there, too. That I'm actually looking for right now, but I have not found it in the stores yet. I did a product search, and there's none in northern Jersey at the moment. I'm hoping Friday when they get their truck, it'll be there. That's a really cool set there. The giant squid and a hammerhead shark-shaped submarine. And it comes with all that gear you see there. They're amazing, these toys. The quality is fantastic. They're made of super sturdy plastic. A little kid is not going to break these. But yeah, the figures are only 5 or 6 points of articulation. They're not great, but they're good to get little imaginations going. For me, the real draw is the accessories, the dio props, the animals. That's the big draw to me.
Oh yeah. I mean, do you know? I mean, gee, my knees. There's a. I mean, you think like, what would two, like right now, 2 regular Star Wars action figures cost you about what they move them up to $12.99 now, about 30. So for about the price of 2 regular Star Wars action figures, look what you get.
Yeah, you get all that stuff.
Oh man, I've got to look at more of these.
Light up eyes. The submarine has several light up ports on it.
What? This dude has light up eyes?
Yeah, the squid. You push a button located right behind the eyes, and the eyes glow. It's like a yellow-green color. And the submarine, when you press a button on it, the lights on the front light up where the eyes where the hammerhead shark are, and the lights on I believe the interior lights up too in the console.
Man,
yeah, it's $30. You get all that stuff. It's fantastic.
Can you imagine the customizing potential for that stuff?
I've used a lot of Chapmay stuff over the years in my customs. They customize very well. They take paint beautifully. That's one of the sets I got, the giant scorpion playset.
Man, think how cool that could be. Man, you could make that in like your Lord of the Rings stuff. You could have a big old.
Yeah, the thing is, like, anybody who's ever played Dungeons and Dragons, you know that giant scorpions, giant spiders, and giant centipedes and things like that are basic villains. They're low-level creatures for you to fight. They're perfect. You get 2 big ones. They have you press a button, their claws come together, and
really?
They have, articulated
I can
tail.
see the button on the back there.
Yeah.
Oh, that is cool.
Yeah, they're great sets. The spider set is even better. The spider is actually a brand new mold. That scorpion set is made up entirely of reused molds from older sets. But the spider is brand new. It actually debuted this year, and it's got wheels on the bottom. When you roll it, all the legs move, and it moves in a fairly realistic fashion too.
So there's the spider right there, right?
Yep, that's the one.
Zoom in on that puppy.
It's the way the legs move. That actually has like 16 little tiny baby spiders on it, and you can.
Oh yeah, I can see it there.
Yeah.
Oh.
And there's a web. You can see there's a little warthog there, and a web. You open up the web, you put the warthog in it, close it, and the warthog is cocooned with just his head sticking out, and the spider's going to eat him. It's a really great little set. You know, $15. You can't beat that. If Hasbro was to produce that, that'd easily be $29.99.
Yeah. How cool. $15.
Yeah. I picked up both of those the second I saw them. I saw them on the shelf and grabbed them.
Oh, man. I got to see more of this stuff. What's this?
I'm a sucker for giant bugs and giant reptiles and stuff like that for my action figures. So the second I saw that, I just grabbed one of each of them and started walking right to the counter.
There's that Mayan temple, right?
That is the piece I'm looking for right now. It hasn't made its way to the East Coast yet, as far as I can tell. But that thing is amazing. That's all brand new too. That sculpt has never been used before. The only parts in there that I noticed have been used before are the monkeys and the 2 figures. But other than that, everything in there is brand new. And you see they got a little part sprue with some accessories on it. There's a part sprue with snakes you can break off.
That is so cool.
Yeah, actually, they changed the picture from yesterday. The picture before was the box. One of
Uh-huh.
those figures is actually new. The African American figure is a new figure. I've never seen him before.
Man, oh man.
Yeah, so that's a really nice set.
And these, I mean, and it looks to me like these are 5 POA, but it
Yep.
almost seems like the body stances are just look a little bit more realistic to me.
They're a little more dynamic. There's definitely a little
Yeah.
more life to them than the straight up and down arms and legs. And even with 5 POA, you can still get some decent some decent poses out of them. And the giant
Man.
two-headed snake, the cowls on the cobras light up.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it's a great little set. $40, you know.
Dude. I mean, they are answering the need for like I don't want to call this, but like a full diorama, but like play sets,
Mm-hmm.
set pieces. I mean, just so cool. I mean,
These sets. Yeah, I'm sorry. Please go ahead.
I'm just thinking, get out your Indiana Jones figures, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
These sets, all the stuff from the Animal Planet line, to
Hmm.
me, being a bit older than some of the fans that are out there now, this to me screams Adventure Team, which was, if you
Yeah.
remember, that was the GI Joe line after the Vietnam
Hmm.
War, where they didn't want to be soldiers anymore. They
Right.
had them going after Bigfoot and finding mummies and doing all sorts of cool Indiana Jones stuff. 20 years before Indiana Jones. That this to me is a modern Adventure Team line in all but name. It just doesn't have the little AT logo on it. But that's what these things are. They are the Adventure Team reborn for a new generation.
Oh, I've got a message my friend Luke Sprywalker because he's a big Adventure Team guy.
Yeah.
He's probably loving that stuff.
Yeah.
Man, let me get down on the outline here and see. Oh, there's one more here too. It's this one. Ooh, hovercraft.
Yeah, they also have an exclusive military line called True Heroes. And
Mm-hmm.
again, it utilizes a lot of older Chapman molds and actually produces new ones. That entire package is brand new. That is a brand new from top to bottom hovercraft with a tank that comes out of it. And it's fairly large. I saw a picture on Facebook. Somebody actually has one already and they have it out of the box.
Mm-hmm.
That tank that sits in the middle is roughly the same size as the Mobat tank from G.I. Joe, the original one from 1982.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a pretty sizable craft because the Mobat was probably about this long, give or take.
Hmm.
So that's a pretty sizable piece.
Man, that is neat.
Yeah, and it's $50. And I guarantee if Hasbro produced that, you're looking at an $89.95 package right there.
Man, I guess it's just the Star Wars name is up in the
Yeah, it's a
man.
licensing fees. I mean, there's no actual characters or media that they're supporting, so there's no licensing fees. These sets are amazing, and you get so much, especially if you have kids. I look at things mostly not as a collector, but as a customizer. But
Mm-hmm.
if you have kids, these sets you cannot beat. You give a giant box, that temple set. I know the size class that it's in. The box is easily 2 feet wide, all right, by about a foot tall. You give
Mm-hmm.
that to a kid at Christmas time, their
Oh,
head will explode. They'll be so happy to get something that's enormous. You get little vehicles, you got animals, you got figures, you got a big monster snake. You can't beat something like that as a gift for a little one. And as a collector, a customizer like myself, I can use virtually every piece out of that for a project.
oh yeah. Man, I'm telling you, that's fantastic. I'm thinking right now, okay, which of those sets am I going to get my daughter? Because she's really starting to get into some Marvel action figures now, and she would love some of this animal stuff and
Oh yeah,
these
this is
set
great.
pieces, and the price is just right, man.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool stuff.
And the figures tend to run a bit on the large side. They are 3 3/4 inch, but they're a little beefier, so they tend to look a little bigger. They look like bigger, more muscular people.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it adds a little more diversity to your fodder bank for different size body
Mm-hmm.
parts, different builds for a little more realism.
Cool stuff.
Yeah.
Cool stuff. All right, let's see what next you have for us. Marauder Task Force.
This was a successful Kickstarter, which just finished up, and the figures have started being delivered. Marauder Gunrunners, the very good friends of mine, I've known them for years. They make some amazing 3 3/4 inch scale action figure weapons. They've actually broadened their products and came up with their own action figure. The
Sweet.
the design of the figures is from Boss Fight Studio, which is an amazing toy design group, a bunch of former Hasbro workers. Hasbro designers, and they came up with Star Wars and Marvel Universe, and they worked on GI Joe. These guys did all the toys that we love. These guys no longer work for Hasbro. Now they have their own company. They do design work for other companies like for Marauder, and they have their own line coming up, which is actually the next link that we're going to look at. But the Marauder set, the figures are modular. They have little ports all over their body where you can attach different gear. You can buy the gear individually, the magazine
Yeah.
pouches, grenade loops. There's armor pieces that go on them. There's so many different choices for headgear, helmets, hats, gas masks, berets. There's 4 or 5
Dude.
different vest pieces. There's an armored vest piece that looks like the Colonial Marines from Aliens. Anything you can imagine, you can make any type of action figure with the Marauder Task Force figures. And there's another line coming up that's called Marauder Task Force Valkyrie. We're hopefully going to find out more about this weekend, and I'll talk about that when we talk about NGCC. But there's another line coming from Marauder Task Force.
Wow.
Yeah, these
Man,
guys.
it's good.
This.
I remember these guys.
Yeah. These figures, they will be in production shortly. They're, I think, fourth quarter. They're going to start being delivered from overseas. This line is amazing. It's based on Greek mythology. They're 4-inch scale, fully compatible with Star Wars, Marvel Universe, GI Joe, anything that these guys worked on before. You can work with these figures with them. The ones I'm most excited about are the Gorgons, the snake-bodied women. Those figures just blow me away. They're so cool looking. And even, they did some historical figures. They got a King Leonidas figure. They've got a Spartan. They've got a Memorodian, I think was the other city. All different types of Greek soldiers. You've got several different types of Gorgons.
Yeah.
Their next wave, which they're currently working on now, once this one is out, they've got coming up. You're going to see orcs. You're going to see knights. You're going to see undead knights. You're going to see all sorts of cool stuff. And then it's going to keep on going forever. They're going to keep producing more and more figures, as long as the fan base is there to purchase them. I know these guys. They're friends of mine. They're great, not only great designers, but they're great people. I hope they get so much success. They had the biggest action figure Kickstarter up until I think somebody surpassed them. I think the Marauder Task Force may have surpassed them by a little bit as far as actual money that was brought in. But they went in expecting something in the vicinity of like $80,000 to get their first series tooled up. They ended up with like $500,000 or some outrageous number. These figures are insane. They are so beautiful. I've seen some prototypes up close.
Dude.
They will most likely have them on display, at least the Paint Masters and maybe even some early production pieces, this Sunday at New Jersey Collectors Convention. So, of course, I'm going to be taking tons of photos of these things. I cannot wait to get these in my hands. These figures are amazing.
Boy, they look so cool. And what I like is there's so many different variations of them.
They work off more or less the same buck for all the females and all the males.
Yeah, I can
there's like
see
two
that.
different bucks, but there's all sorts of different pieces that mix in and out. There's 4 or 5 different male heads. There's 3 or 4 different snake heads for the women, because some of them you can see they look a little more human, some of them look more snake.
All right.
All different versions. There's even a female. If you see, there's a female Greek soldier in that picture. She's
right
towards
here?
the back.
Oh, right here.
There you go. That one. That's a female. That is an Amazon.
Amazon. There
She's an Amazon warrior. These figures are just amazing figures, and they're fully compatible. You can customize all across the entire range. All of the figures all the males use the same pieces, all the females use the same pieces, so you can mix and match however you want, and they'll be fully compatible across future waves too.
Man,
they're all going to work off the same joint system and the same more or less the same buck for the male and the buck for the female. And eventually, I'm sure they'll add in some different body sizes and different styles. But what's planned right now is they're fully modular. You can switch these things around.
Oh man, that is just so cool.
Yeah, like I said, fourth quarter of this year, they're supposed to start getting delivered, and I cannot wait to actually have them in my hands.
All right, cool deal.
Yep.
All right. Hey, I want to talk about one thing before we get to some cool customs, and then it probably how long? Oh yeah, we're getting close at 7:39 now. We're getting close to an hour and a half. But where is? Yeah, this is. I want to talk about this. Of course, Stan, I know no desire from you for this one, right? The first order stormtrooper.
Yeah, I don't do the 6 inch stuff. It's a great figure, but it's just if I started another scale, I think my wife would probably kill me. So I stay with my 3 3/4 inch stuff.
Yeah, yeah, that's smart. Well, you know me. I'm a sucker for the packaging,
Yep.
and as I've said before, I already have one of these. They were kind enough, Hunter PR and Hasbro, kind enough to send me one to take a look at before, even before San Diego Comic Con. And I talked a little bit about it earlier. And so I really, really wanted a good box because the box I got was boogered up. So I said, man, I got to get a good box. Well, like I said, I had a friend, Greg, who tried, and Todd, who was asking our questions. He tried as well. And these things just, I mean, people were hitting each other in the Hasbro line. I mean, just horrible behavior I was reading out of some of those folks. And anyhow, of course, so SDCC was a bust. And then I thought, okay, glimmer of hope here. We're going to get Hasbro announced that they were going to be selling these things on July 28th. They're exclusives. I thought, well, now that's cool. You don't have to wait around on the internet, days and days and days. They've given you a date. And so then, the 20th, okay, got to wake up early, right? Waking up early, refresh. I don't know how many times I hit the refresh button. Had to be, I don't know, probably 5,000 times. And then finally on Facebook, I see a message at 11:23. There was a message saying they're up with a link. So I immediately clicked that link and went there. And of course, I was already logged in. I had my stuff already logged in and got one in my cart. And then the whirligig hit. And needless to say, about a minute later, it came up that these are already sold out. So, I mean, and I know, the Hasbro Star Wars exclusive sell out quick, but I've never, ever seen one sell out this quickly. And, you talk about majorly bummed, but I was actually able to order another one even a little bit earlier from Big Bad Toy Store. Um, and that was just relatively during the con. And I don't know how they got them. I don't ask stupid questions. And I got it was so cool because I'm sitting here on Facebook whining. You may have even remember reading my post how I was whining all day about, oh, this is crazy. I didn't get my wow, didn't get my first store stormtrooper, and then I get an email message from Big Bad Toy Store that mine had shipped. So I was like, okay, I guess I have to shut up now and stop whining. But um, for any of you who've done this before, you already know this, but for those of you who might not, there will be people who have placed orders who have ordered, when they put in an order, they put in 100. And, they're only able to order two from what I understand. So these things will definitely come back in stock, on Hasbro Toy Shop. So, probably be very similar to this one. Probably a couple minutes will be out of stock again. And then after that second time, you can assume that they're gone. But I did want to show you another option for those of you. Let's see if they're still in stock. There is a store site called Robot Kingdom. And, from a few folks that I'm friends with on Facebook and the interwebs have said, and the price right now it looks like it's $60 and I think it's around $15 for shipping, maybe a little less, a little more, depending on how fast you want it. So you figure $75, but if you've seen the eBay prices that these guys are going for, it just might be another option for you. And it's shipped from Hong Kong, and you're definitely not going to, if you order it today, you're definitely not going to get it, not even next week. But from the ones I've seen that were shipped, they look like they're shipping really well. Like I said, I don't know this e-tailer at all. They're not a sponsor of Imperial Shipyards, nothing of that nature. But I thought, yeah, for those folks who were like me that day and started whining and why, here's an option for you if you're a sucker like me and just love the packaging. Of course, this one comes with a little booklet too. But do remember, folks, that these episode 7 First Order Stormtroopers will be making a release on the Forced Friday in the regular black packaging. So if you just like, if you're an opener, just wait a little over a month and you'll be good. And you'll be able to spend $20. And of course, I don't know, I'm hearing rumors those might be a little higher, 22, 23, but, you can, but it's just, that's sometimes the mint on mint card collector in me. I just look at myself in the mirror and say, you dummy. You didn't care
That's why
about.
I open everything. I don't
Yeah,
nothing.
I know. It's like, you dummy. Why you just, but I do. I do love the, doing a little bit of graphic design and stuff. I do appreciate the artwork and the stuff that goes into the packaging. So, it is what it is. Is what it is. All right. Oh, speaking of the Force Awakens, I did want to take just a second. Our friends at Jedi Temple Archives, old Chuck and Paul over there, they always do a good job. Man, do they get I don't know, they have a gold mine over there, but and part of this came from a mayor's store that started doing their planogram, where they put they start clearing out space and start putting little stuff on the things. And so as far as the Force Awakens goes, Force Friday. This is kind of what it's looking like we're going to get. And of course, they start this thing, and don't forget this is just a rumor, but and those guys, they give stuff. It's pretty legit. So let's see, Episode 7 Special TIE Fighter, $40. Who knows what that is? That's not our big one. It's not our 6-inch one. I don't know. Maybe there's a 3 3/4 inch one too, perhaps.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Well, showing some
But
3 3/4 love.
maybe there is well, it says special TIE fighter. Maybe there's some kind of variant we haven't seen yet. Maybe the Sith guy flies around in a special ship like Vader did.
Mm-hmm.
That may not be the standard TIE, because I'm guessing the standard TIE probably fits in with maybe the Class 2 vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking this special one may be some character specific vehicle.
Okay, maybe.
That's just what I'm getting just from the way it's listed as special TIE fighter.
Yeah. Looking like I'm hearing that it says Trooper Blue 1999. I'm thinking that is a Toys R Us exclusive, blue Trooper, First Order Stormtrooper. I don't know. I mean, I'm just all conjecture here, but I'm kind of leaning that way. Class 1 vehicles, $19.99. I'm thinking at that price point, they're going to be designed for 2-inch figures like those smaller vehicles they've released. I haven't picked a single one of those up. Have you, Dan?
No, I haven't.
Yeah. Class 1 vehicle deluxe, $24.99. That one is a little bit more interesting. I'm not sure what store might be associated with that one, but
what I'm thinking with those, the Class 1 vehicle is probably the Ghost, not the Ghost, sorry, the Phantom or the ATDP, but you're probably looking at smaller vehicles, so they're still that kind of cheap hollow plastic.
Yeah.
Actually physically smaller vehicles. This one here for the $24.99, it says it may come with a figure. You might see a 5 POA mission type figure in there. The Class 2 vehicles, I'm thinking you make it a little bigger. That's where you might find the TIE Fighter, maybe the new X-Wing.
Perhaps.
Yeah, that's just, like I said, just conjecture, like I said, but that's kind of the vibe I'm getting from it. I think these are mostly going to be the 5 POA stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Just because there's only a $5 difference. So I would not assume you're going to get a Black Series level figure out of there for $5.
So what do you think for these Class 2 vehicles? Are those going to be the 3 3/4 inch, little bit larger vehicles that we like?
I say all 3 ones, but like I said, I think they're going to be smaller vehicles. Like the 1999 ones, you might see Rey's speeder with Rey, maybe, or you might see. Like I said, I don't know what other vehicles there are in the series, but I'm guessing the Class 1 vehicle is going to be small things. Maybe a land speeder, maybe a small starfighter, like how they did with the Clone Wars line, where they had the single press versions of the Anakin starfighter and Obi-Wan starfighter, and the smaller Slave 1. I have a feeling that's what you're looking at here. And Class 2 might be a little bit bigger. Class 2 might be something more along the lines of a larger fighter. Like I'm thinking the TIEs and the X-Wings are good.
That would be cool.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Then Battle Action Millennium Falcon. Is that like those There's like the X-wing we got, those big hunks of plastic that don't really do anything. Is I'm hoping that's not what that is.
I don't know because I'm looking. It says 139.99. How much you want to bet that's a simplified version of the old big Millennium Falcon with the new radar dish on it? And
Hmm.
I'm betting it's stripped, no electronics, no spring loaded. It might have the spring loaded missiles because it says battle action, but I'm guessing the electronics have been stripped out. You're probably not going to get that little the shuttle that came out the side of it. I have a
Mm-hmm.
feeling we're looking at a new version of the BMF, but it's going to be reduced in quality. I think you're going to
Ah.
see a lot less features. It probably won't have all the removable stuff from inside. May even have a more simplified interior,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe it only have the cockpit that opens. It made the inside maybe sealed up. Like from the price of it, I think it's going to be for the figures, but I think it's going to be, or at least, even I hope it's not. But I hope it's not the POTF Falcon
Oh
re-release.
no. Yeah. Yeah. Let's hope not.
Because I mean, at 139.99, I think that's a little cheap for the BMF because that came out at 89, and the
Right.
last re-release of it was like $200.
Right.
I have
Yeah.
a feeling you're looking at the older 95 Falcon with a new dish.
I'm not arguing with you, bud.
Yeah. I think that might be what we're seeing here.
Yeah, I do too. 6-inch tie. We know about that one.
Hmm.
Limited release. So, from what they're saying, I am trying to maybe drive up demand. It is a higher price point. I still don't know that folks are going to bite for a price that large, but we'll see. I could be wrong.
Some fans have deep pockets, and they may
Yeah.
not see that as a an issue, but I would have a lot of trouble dropping $170 on a toy.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason I do it, it's like when the ATT came out along, well, it's when the big BMF came out at the same
Mhm.
time. I'm going to say that
Yeah.
was a legacy collection, wasn't it?
Yes, that was Legacy.
And it was just like, man, that just seems so expensive for that. But I bought one at regular price because it's like, man, we want them to make these larger vehicles.
Hmm.
If we're not going to pay for them, if the only way these things are going to sell is everybody buys them at clearance, then we're not going to see them again.
Nope.
Just like that big ATTE. How many times have you seen one of them in like Rebels? But you think you'd ever see that thing re-released? It's like, no way, Jose, man.
I don't think the market today could handle a vehicle that large with that. I mean,
Yes.
the ATTE came out. It was what I think it was $100 when it first came out.
Mm,
If that was re-released today, you're easily looking at $170 because
uh,
the market has changed so much and the prices have gone up so much.
I guess bumming me out, man.
Yeah, because I mean that came out when figures were still $4.99,
Right?
or
Yeah.
$5.99, whatever it was. Now
Mm,
we're looking at $12.99.
yeah. You're
They've
right.
they've doubled, more than doubled.
You're right. I'm not. Well, 6-inch figure assortment, $20. Now, one 6-inch figure costs $20. Figure assortment. I wonder. That's interesting, isn't it?
Well, I think assortment just means that there's going to be multiple figures available.
Okay.
That's what it looks like to me.
Okay. Then here's your snow desert figure, your jungle special figure. Those are the ones supposedly, from what I understand, are going to get you your build a weapon piece, right?
I think that's a two-pack actually. The $14.99 one's listed a little further down.
Okay.
I remember Rebel Scum saying it's a two-pack thing.
Okay.
These are probably your single packs.
Hmm. And you've got your mission series figures. They've gone up in price. Armored figures, $12.99.
My guess with that, just based on it's probably a single figure because it doesn't say two-pack or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
My guess, this may be your super articulated figures.
Mm. There you
Because
go.
the $12.99 price line at the price points, Toys R Us is the only one that still has the figures at $9.99 for the Black Series. Everybody else, including Kmart, Target, Walmart. I mean, Target's actually jumped to $14 in some places, but that to me, I'm guessing those are your 3 3/4 inch super articulated figures.
Well, maybe there's some. I'm wondering if this might be that line that I've been hearing rumored that they were going to show us at SDCC, the line that they were maybe even thinking about releasing even before The Force Awakens. Like
That's possible.
this might be some of the ones that they've had on their hit list for a little while that could be. I bet you we might even see those guys still in the Black Series packaging, like the TIE Pilot, that packaging, the one we
Yep.
have out now. I bet you we see them there.
Well, at Toy Fair, one of the things that Joe said was that they will plan on continuing Black Series, and they probably won't redesign the packaging. So I'm guessing that Tie Fighter package will make a reappearance.
Mm.
I mean, you might find maybe a different color, secondary color on it. Where I think
Mm.
right now it's blue. Maybe it'll switch to another color. That may be it, but he didn't say anything about changing it too much. It would continue. So that might be your
Man,
line right there.
too bad they can't make that package white, man. We have Top Pot. Why can't we do like AT-AT driver package anyway?
Then you'd have to buy every figure that came out. You don't
Oh
want
yeah,
that to
maybe.
happen.
Yeah, there you go. Good point, Dan. Micro Machines. I was loving that. Millennium Falcon, Star Destroyer, little play sets, right?
That's
That's
what I'm
what.
guessing. That they
Yeah,
had lines like that in the original Micro Machines.
I
They had
loved them.
plastic ship that opened up. You had the little figures in it. That's what I'm thinking those are.
I might have to have them.
And they could probably even just dust off the old molds and redo them. They were fantastic when they came out 10 or
Oh
12 years
yeah,
ago
you're right.
or more.
I just keep hoping to see Action Fleet. Action Fleet. I love those ships too, but I guess their titanium line is fairly close to that size. But
Yeah.
12-inch Captain Phasma. Pass.
I think what that's probably going to be, it's going to be one of those the
Shampoo
shampoo bottle
bottles.
figures.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it'll probably be chromed because he's the reflective one. That'll probably
Yeah.
be it. It'll be a chromed regular, first order stormtrooper figure, but it'll be chromed. That's it.
Yeah. And we've got Funko POP figures. Nah,
Not a
really.
fan.
I'm not really into those either. So anyway, really, wanted to give JTA shout out. Those guys getting some of this. Skippy could even be in more, for all I know. But they definitely seem like up to the second they have some pretty daggone good sources. And when they say it's a rumor, I don't know that I can ever remember them being too wrong, to be honest with you. So
Yeah, unless something didn't pan out. That's about it.
yeah, yeah. So some information about what you need to save your pennies for, getting ready for September 4th. And other than that, we have some other things we were going to talk about, but I wanted to take a look at just some cool customs. I want to start with Star Alien 70. You seen this one, Dan? And this
Yes, I have. That is very cool.
dude is making like ultimate action figures. I mean, look. I mean, this reminds you of a 3 3/4 version of that Hot Toys A New Hope look, doesn't it? Look at that.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Wouldn't you buy that in a heartbeat, Dan, if they ever release something? If
If they
Hasbro ever did
released a
something like
figure
that?
like that came with all those accessories, all that little bits of gear, I would buy several of them for customs.
Mm-hmm. Just really cool. Just awesome. So that was one. He did another one, and when I saw this, it's like, okay, I've got to share this one too. He also did a Hoth Han Solo in a similar vein. Uh, Soft goods. I mean, just look at the soft goods on that dude.
Yeah, it's
Just
very nice. I'm not a big fan of soft goods on figures, but this soft goods looks really,
yeah,
really good.
I know. And I mean, just the guy. I mean, we've seen Hasbro do some horrible soft goods. I keep remembering like the last version of Tarkin they gave us that had that
Oh yeah,
awful gray skirt on him or whatever it was. But just man, just some really neat stuff. Did a Hoth Luke too, just really neat picture there. And here's another version that he did where he gave just a soft goods skirt to. I want to say that was the Target exclusive pack there for that Han Solo, but look how good that is, that soft goods.
yeah, it's not bad. The color match is
Yeah.
really good. Yeah.
They say that was from, that was made from pieces of the Legacy Collection Bail Organa robe. He said, which is quite a good color match. So anyway, Star Alien 70 doing some neat custom stuff. What else do I want to? Oh yeah, I've got to showcase Ron. Ron Hamlin's making some. He is creating just an awesome. Where's that? There it is. He created a lava scene. Look at that lit up. That's the base. Isn't that
Oh, very
cool?
nice. Yeah.
I mean, just awesome. See if I can make it a little bigger, but there's. I think you just said those are tea lights that he has sitting underneath of. Just really cool stuff. I'll see if I can scroll up here. I want to say that I didn't get a very good link. Let me see if I can find. Of course, there's another version he's done. Every 6-inch figure that comes out, or maybe that was it. But just really cool die he did with that. And then I had to talk about this. He is working on a 6-inch Imperial shuttle diorama.
That
I
thing's
mean,
going to be huge.
can you imagine? I mean, let me scroll down here. Here's the pilots. He's got those pretty much done already. But I mean, he's just the detail work that he's putting into this thing. I mean, there's a shot of them before they were painted inside. I mean, look at the detail in the cockpit. I
Yep.
mean, just fantastic. And I mean, just talk about what is going to be just one awesome project. See if I can scroll down here. These are 6-inch figures just to give you. Let me see if I can find the where he showed us kind of how large this thing's going to be. And hopefully, I'm not going too witch blurry on you folks. I do apologize. I'm trying to get through this. Maybe it's here on the first page. We'll try it. But he has a picture up here. Here's his other one. It was finished. It's probably going to be on. Yeah, the one I didn't click. That's the one it's going to be on.
That's always the way.
Yeah, but some of the early cockpit work. But I know he's got a picture here of how. Yeah, there's how long it's going to be. That's a 6-inch figure. That's kind of what we're looking at. Can
Two and
you
a half feet.
can you imagine, dude? Sign me up. Make two. Nimble Creations. That guy just does some great work. Just does awesome work. All right. What else was I want to talk about? Like I said. Oh yeah, I saw this and said, man, I've got to showcase this. This is what Dayton's. Most folks in the customizing world know him as Sithfire 30, but this is what he announced yesterday. He is going to create a 1/18 scale, true scale Millennium Falcon. I mean, dude's already has the designs. Look at that. I mean, trust me, he is going to do. He will do this right. I can't. That looks to me like that ought to be in a frame put up on the wall, doesn't it? To you?
I think those are the plans from
Mm.
the set when they built it.
Oh man, look at that. Cool deal.
Yep. That thing's got to
So
be huge. Even at 3 3/4 inch scale, in true scale, you're probably looking at a 6 foot long model.
yeah, I need to ask him that. I just really did. It's like, how are the approximate dimensions in 1/18 scale? See if he'll tell me. Get back to you that on later. So that was cool. Oh yeah, and I don't know that I'm going to play this video, and I'm getting ready to load this up to our YouTube channel. But so hopefully you won't mind this music. All right, that was starting to get loud. But this is a time-lapse video of him, Jetpack Blues, painting a 6-inch, putting together a 6-inch custom figure, kind of a galactic marine. And he takes you through the camo paint scheme process. So if you've ever wanted to know how to put camo on an action figure, take a look at this tutorial. I mean, it's just fantastic. I mean, he takes you through that whole entire custom action figure from start to finish. And I enjoyed this one so much. I said, "Hey, man, can I download this thing and put it up on the Imperial Shipyards channel?" I said, "Yeah, go for it." So I mean, that was really cool. So thanks, Tim, for letting us use this, and just a fantastic job. Really neat time lapse video. Spoodafet did something really cool, showing his contest entry. But one of his coolest projects of late has, man, what am I doing? There's somebody's reaction to it, to his project. But he actually got, most of us that are a little older know about this Unleashed Boba Fett. Okay, wait for it. Wait for it. Okay, he's tearing apart a lamp. What's he doing here? He's lighting that base up. Isn't that cool?
That is really nice looking.
Isn't that
Really
neat?
brings it to life.
Of course, he gives you a little tutorial here on what you need to do and how to wire it up, and look how cool that is. Of course, here's the money shot right here. It's like, look at that thing. Isn't that cool?
That is really nice.
I'd have that sitting out up in my room at Christmas time or something, man. That is fantastic. Great, Devin, just a great job. Uh, you've got to be really pleased with the shot when it's starting to get dark. Isn't that cool? It looked just really neat. So had to showcase that one. And this one got my attention. Speaking of large vehicles, fellow goes by the name of Foamtastic Creations. This is foam, Dan.
Yep. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
There's the scale. Look at that.
That is really, really big.
I want one. How cool is that? Just fantastic. Oh man. Wow. I don't know. Just really cool. Definitely be looking for him to share more about that. So you know me, I'll be all over that. But
Yep. Yeah.
really, really, really awesome stuff. Basically, other than that, we're going to talk about. I don't know if I'm sorry, I gotta share this, Dan, before
Sure, good.
before we start winding down. Harrison Ford, joins the cast and even kisses, Carrie Fisher, and it's just like, man, how long has it been? Harrison Ford is kind of like, no way am I doing these cons. He didn't want to be remotely associated with Star Wars, and it's like, man, it feels like we got him back. I don't know how you feel about it.
I think it's good that he returned to it.
So cool to see those three back together again. It's definitely a great highlight of San Diego Comic Con, and I thank this particular fellow for his vine. It like plays the same scene over and over again, but so cool. And the only other thing we've heard from the film lately is, the latest trailer on YouTube. And I'm
The
not
behind
going.
the scenes one, yeah.
Yeah, behind the scenes reel. I mean, they give you some different stuff, and spoiler alert, folks, for those of you who don't want to watch that stuff, but it gives you some behind the scenes stuff that I thought was really cool. The stuff from the sets, and looks like there's a X-wing and some of the creature. Man, I really like seeing that stuff. Don't you, Dan? Really cool
I
stuff
love seeing the
sometimes.
behind the scenes. I love seeing how the movies come together.
So, really, really cool. Costume. Anyway, I'm sure everyone, that's probably watched this by now, but I watched again every week or so. Just look at it. It's only been watched how many times, Dan?
Yeah, 7 million, almost 8
Getting
million.
close. Getting close to the 8 million mark. No one's going to come out and see The Force Awakens in December, right?
No, it's gonna bomb.
Yeah. All right. So that's basically. See if I can get all the screen share. I've been on screen share for a while now. There we go. So, hey, I mean, it's been a lot that has happened since we've podcasted last, and definitely want to get back on the wagon and appreciate everyone emailing me and saying, hey, when's there going to be another custom action figure news? ZTFR, he's always got a post here and there saying, when's the next episode? So it really makes me feel good that people do enjoy, hearing us banter around. And we're definitely going to get back to customizer interviews and things like that. And I've even Dan's going to do this with me once a month. So thank you, Dan, for doing that.
Hey, I'm glad to be here. I'm having a good time. I like this.
And some folks have noticed I've been a little bit off the internet lately, uh, and a couple of friends have said, you might want to share a little bit about that. And I won't go into too great big a detail, but I know Dan, and I'm not going to. He's been dealing with some health issues, and my family, my wife was diagnosed with cancer about a month and a half ago. So we've started that fight. So I can't promise you that, based on those factors, that we're going to be able to do this on time every 2 weeks like we started this. But we'll try to do this once a month because it is just a nice, it's a relaxing thing for me. It's nice to be able to talk about this stuff. And I really do appreciate the emails and the messages that you're sending me about, wanting to see more custom action figure news, and liking what we're doing. So thank you for that. So just like I said, I don't want to end the show on a down note because it's definitely, things are looking good. Things are calming down, at least on my end, for a little bit. I'm hoping Dan is getting some good news too. But man, it just
Yeah, I'm
seemed like
recovering. I'm doing better. So
good.
things are getting back to where they should be.
Good. So it felt like we got this started again, and then we both got kind of double whammies, but things are going pretty good. So I just wanted to put that out there real quick, just to let you know that for those of you who have been wondering about a little bit of the reason for the fact that we haven't been as regular as we used to be. So, any particular religion you might happen to believe in, send some prayers both of our way. I know they'll definitely be appreciated. And that is pretty much it. Episode 79 is in the books for Custom Action Figure News.
Well, one more thing, if before we cut off, I
Sure,
do
we're
want
not.
to talk about NJCC.
Sure.
This Sunday, August 2nd. It's in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. If anybody's in the area and wants to come, there's going to be tons of toys. They have all sorts of Star Wars, G.I. Joe, Transformers, any toy you can imagine, any toys, they're going to have them there. And the prices are usually pretty good. It's a lot better than you'll see on eBay. And you get to see people up close and personal. Marauder Task Force, Marauder Gun Runners is going to be there. Boss Fight Studio is going to be there. I think his name is John Kent. He's the guy that does the Mortals and the Robo Force and the figures that are all interconnected. They use I can't remember the name of the joint, the Glyos system. Glyos, he's going to be there, and I'll be there. You can come up, see me, say hi, have a good conversation with you, and it's just going to be a good time. It's August 2nd. It's in Cherry Hill. Look it up. It's NJCC. You'll find them on Facebook. You'll find them on His Tank and a bunch of other places. It's, I think, $10 to get in, so it's an inexpensive con. And I just wanted to throw that out there because this con is going places. They're going to be a big show in a couple of years. I think next year they may actually have to switch to a bigger venue because it's pretty crowded. I just wanted to get that out there so people know, come see me. I'll be there.
That is awesome. I'm definitely hoping you'll get us a gallery of that Boss Fight Studio stuff as well as that Marauder stuff. That's really cool.
I'll bring my camera as I always do, and I'll take tons of pictures of everything.
Yeah, Dan's definitely our go-to guy for all things con, and like I said, he jumps right in, and he's got some good relationships developed with those folks now. So I'm looking forward to see what he gets into.
Yep, I'll see what kind of inside info I can get for people.
Cool deal. All right, Dan, it's about time to wrap up. If folks want to contact you, what's the best way?
Best way would be either through email, which is thespectre@imperialshipyards.net. Also, stalkingwolf1@yahoo.com. You can find me on Facebook. It's Dan Koza, Kosa. I'm always on Imperial Shipyards. You can find me on joecustoms.com and on Twitter @thespectredk.
Very good.
Yeah.
And you know me, if you want me, it's tamer@imperialshipyards.net, Tamer of the Shipyards on Facebook, and of course, you always find me in the forums at Imperial Shipyards. And thank you for watching, and from the Tamer
and the Spectre,
may the Force be with you. Thanks for watching, folks.
Good night, everybody.